So welcome everybody to our Barbara Wold series. If you look, I just put the link to our website on this. We've done uh, several other webinars with Barbara, and so if you want to go back and watch those, you can.
Five. We did
Five.
five
Yep.
others. Yeah.
Yep. So 5 others. So you can look at that. We're kind of building on that and growing. This one is growing my business during a pandemic. Barbara is an internationally known speaker, especially on retail and restaurant, but just general connection with customers and customer experience. And I think she is an excellent person to talk about. One thing I do want to mention is that we also have 25 opportunities for people to do one-on-one sessions with Barbara. And if you're interested in that, there is a link on the page that I just posted where you can click on there and sign up, and then I'll schedule a time with you and Barbara to get together and they can talk specifically about your business. So if you're interested in that, click through to that link. And I'm really excited to hear what Barbara has to say today. So I'm going to turn it over to her and looking forward to hearing from her.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nathan. 4 years ago, high school auditorium, I had 450 people in the room. I walked around the room very much like I love to do, and this is why I don't like Zoom as much as I do in-person programs. But I walked around the room to find out who all was there, and I was speaking to the San Diego, California School District. Well, I had principals from all the schools, teachers, office staff, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, gardeners, everyone involved in the school district. Well, I got up there all ready to start, and there was a man in the back of the room I had not met. So I walked over and I said, "Good morning." I said, "My name is Barbara, and I don't believe I've met you." He said, "My name is Lou. I retire in September. I didn't want to come today, and girly, don't you dare call on me." Well, I gained my energy through eye contact. So I'd talk, I'd scan the room, I'd go right over Lou. I thought, I'm not going to waste my time on this man. And I know none of you would either. Well, after the program came, I had people waiting in line to thank me for what they had gotten out of the program and how they're going to implement some of these things into their life. Who's in line but Lou? I said, "What are you doing in line?" He said, "I'm in line to give you a hug." He said, "You made my day." He said, "Knowing I was going to retire in September," he said, "I quit my job many years ago, but I showed up every day." And at that point, it made me realize how many people just show up. Well, obviously, with this pandemic, you can't just show up any longer at all. Do people want stuff anymore? No. They want style. They want life. They want an experience. This is what they're looking for. So what you've got to do is you've got to take off those blinders. I tell this to every single session I do. Take off those blinders and be aware of what's going on around you. All right, there's always something on the news, especially with retail, the consumer industries today, always something on the news. Last night, what did I see on the news? Dunkin' Donuts. What do you think they're adding to their menu? Avocado toast. And I thought, avocado toast? And I thought, aha, who were they trying to attract? Millennials. Yes. So take off your blinders. You will learn something every single day. But the ones that are going to survive today are the ones that react the fastest, the ones that are able to pivot and change and notice these changes and be able to turn themselves around quickly. They're either their delivery methods, getting the product to a customer. It could be their product trends. What are the product trends today? Completely different. Maybe it's time to think about your offerings. What are you offering your customer? All right, think about Dunkin' Donuts. Now, Dunkin' Donuts, donuts and coffee go well together. Avocado toast and coffee doesn't even sound good to me, but they're trying something new. And so this is what we all need to do is just try something a little bit different. I'm sorry, I'm just going to move that a second. All right, what's big right now? Well, when we look at what the shopping trends are, this last Christmas, was it apparel for parties and things like that? No, it's lounging wear. It's home goods. Who's doing well right now? You know, all of the stores that are selling home goods, all of the candle companies, Bath and Body Works, you know, Yankee Candle, they're all doing fabulous right now. Spa items. People are turning their bathrooms into spas today. You know, we look at the construction industry and redesigning bathrooms. That is huge right now because people realize that they're going to stay home. They're going to get that done. Maybe they're doing their own manicures and pedicures. All right, let's have a little fun with our bathroom then. When we look at any type of a home, what is it? It's the kitchen and it's the bathroom. That's what sells a home. So this is what people are looking at because they're in their homes now today and they're looking around thinking, gee, the sofa looks a little tired, or we could change that. All right. It's the lounge, whereas it says hobbies. It's toys. They're doing very well. Games. Yes, games are doing huge right now, as well as puzzles. Puzzles, cookbooks, bookstores are doing very well right now. People want to actually hold a book. You know, it's something you can always look at your Kindle or you can read it off your computer or your iPad or whatever else. But people want to hold books today. Pets, the adoption rate has gone way up. So pet items are very big right now. Outdoors, um, paint by number. There, I was on the internet the other day, and here's an ad for paint by number coming. I thought, paint by number, I haven't heard of that for years. You know who else has done very well this last year? Tupperware. They were almost dying, and Tupperware has quadrupled their sales. DIY, you know, all the Hobby Lobby and Joann's Fabrics, they're all doing very, very well. So things have changed. So this is why maybe it's time to look at what your offerings are. What could be added to what you already have? All right, so it's the ones that have the quickest turnaround to figure out what can be done. What can be done right now is the curbside pickup. Yes, things are getting back to normal, but not yet because the vaccine really, you know, isn't really out there for everybody yet. So people are, you know, leery of going out there. So they're still doing curbside pickup. All right, when somebody picks up something at your store, curbside pickup, give them a nice little bag with a little handle. Then have inside a list of all your services, every way to get a hold of you, your website, your phone number, an email address. An email address is very, very important. How to find you on Facebook. Are you on YouTube? How to find you on Instagram. You know, you need to have all your services then too. Gift wrap, home delivery, gift certificates, stop and think, shipping, you know, and go through everything that you have to offer. And put this in the bag so the customer has all this information. Now, it can be a fancy card like this. It can be just something that you've done on your computer and had it copied on paper and something colorful that you put in the bag. But that way they can see what all you have to offer. You also need to, address the person that is going to deliver this product on the curbside, your employee. All right, they've got a whole new role now. They need to go out, they need to have a mask on. If it's a food product, obviously gloves, and address the customer by name. Let the customer know that you've got a list of all of your services in the bag. Let them know perhaps, you know, and you may want to put a little thank you note in the bag. That would be nice as well. You know what? I mentioned this in one of my last seminars. Why not a lottery ticket? You know, wouldn't that be fun if somebody hands you the bag, your little bag, and say, you know, there's a lottery ticket inside just for you. Costs $1. Think of that, how exciting that would be. I'd come back every single day to pick up a bag just to get that lottery ticket. So you never know, but you've got to have all of this information in front of your customer. You can't just say, oh, our customer knows that. No, I was in the store, well, it wasn't recently. I haven't been in any stores for about a year now, but in the store, and it was a lovely gift store. And I said, oh, do you ship? Because I was traveling. And I said, I'd love to have something shipped home. She says, yeah, we do, but we don't like to, so we don't have a sign up. I think, well, now's the time to turn that around. That's for sure. You need to have everything up so your customers can see it. All right, you have new demands now. Your staff has new demands. They have to make sure everybody wears a mask, and you're going to a fun sign up to wear a mask. I saw a cute one recently. It says, "If you come in without a mask, we will have to take your temperature. P.S. We only have rectal thermometers." So make it fun. Now, Nathan, you didn't even smile at that. Did you get it? You choose wisely on it. But no, your associates have a new role now. They have to pick and pack items for curbside delivery or shipping. They need to make sure the store is spotless and stringent with their cleaning policies. You need to um, pick up at curbside, as I said, and you learn a way of doing that so that it makes it very pleasant for the customer. Nobody likes the situation we're in, but have fun with the customer. All right, you got to shift to online. Now, I mentioned this in one of the last seminars. You don't need a fancy website. It can be very basic. Nathan, I'm sure, can help you find somebody that can do a very basic website. Veronica, one of the group here today was from Conrad, and I know Barbie over at your Chamber of Commerce. She probably has a source for somebody that can build a very generic, very basic website. You don't need 2,000 products on it. You're not Amazon. Pick out, the hot items. Spring's coming. Everybody's getting excited for spring, and we're waiting to see what's going to happen with this. So maybe 15, 20 fun new things that you're getting in for spring, and also to work with your vendors. Your vendors can help you. Your vendors are in trouble right now. First of all, there are problems with getting things delivered on time. Just got word a couple of weeks ago, the Denver Merchandise Mart is closing. I've worked with the Denver Merchandise Mart now for over 25 years, and they're closing. They haven't been able to pay their rent for 1 year. And that is just so sad. And I'm sure a lot of the gift stores and the apparel stores in Montana shopped the Denver Merchandise Mart. I know they did. And so, that's sad. So the vendors, your vendors need help as well. They're willing to work with you. Maybe it could be, invoicing. Maybe you need a little longer than your net 30. Ask them if they have any overruns that maybe they're willing to sell you at a discount so you could do some sort of a special event in your store. Also, too, your website is a billboard for your business. It's a billboard. And it doesn't cost anything, really. I mean, you could do one very inexpensively, but you want decent photographs of the items on there. And you may want to hire somebody who can take a picture of the item. My granddaughter's a college student here in Denver, as well as she works in a restaurant too, which I'll tell you about a little bit later what they're doing. But what she does, one of her classes she's taking, she's into photography, and she's working now with a small startup apparel manufacturer here in Denver, and she's taking pictures for their catalog. And it's great experience for her, and she's not a professional, so they're not, paying her a lot of money, but it's great for both of them. And then the pictures look professional. So you want to shift to online, and you need to do that immediately if you're not doing that already, because that's the only way you're going to survive today. Okay, now you need to get the basics right. Why not ask your customers? Why not do some sort of advisory board? How could we improve during this pandemic? They're willing to help you. They want to see you survive. Yes, they know that everybody wants to shop now in the local mom and pop stores. It's not the big box cold stores that people want any longer. No, it's the smaller stores. So take advantage of that. And ask your customers, and we used to call it a focus group, change it around. Advisory board. Doesn't that sound more romantic? Of course it does. It does. But you need to give them a little gift, not a coupon for 20% off in the store. That doesn't do it. Give them an actual gift. Maybe this is something that you can get from one of your vendors that would be very special and just for them. And to do it during Zoom, via Zoom. I did one last night with a group. And to do it via Zoom, and that way then you're going to get all of your customers, maybe pick out 10, maybe 15 at the most. But have them bounce ideas off of each other in a Zoom conference. And basically, you're paying them. You're not paying them for all that information they're giving you. You're going to get them to think. They want to make sure you stay in business. Yes, they want to keep the charm downtown. So, ask your customers. They'd be thrilled. I mean, will you be on my advisory board? Doesn't that sound fun? All right, so you're going to ask them about the basics. What can we do to keep you coming back and keep you shopping with us, and to gain new customers as well? All right, when you think about marketing today, you're not going to be able to get maybe new customers in your store. Maybe they don't want to come into a enclosed store right now. All right, but you're going to make them aware of your business through your marketing. You need to know, first of all, who your audience is. You can't be everything to everybody. And this is the problem right now. So many businesses are just grabbing at anything they can do to pull customers in or to get them to buy from them. No, you need to figure out who you are. I told you a story in one of my last seminars, and I'll tell it again because it makes such a point. I was sitting on a plane and I was upgraded to first class, and I was sitting next to a gentleman, and he's looking at spreadsheets, and I'm kind of looking over to see what he's doing, and I noticed that the spreadsheets for Domino's Pizza. And so I look over and I realize it's Tom Monahan, the founder of Domino's Pizza. So I sat up real straight and I said, Mr. Monahan, I said, I recognize you. I said, in fact, your pizza is my favorite pizza. He says, no, it's not. We're not in the best pizza business. We're in the business of, it's 6 o'clock, the kids just came home from soccer, I'm ordering pizza. We're in the business of, the guys are coming over in an hour to watch the game, I'm ordering pizza. That's the business we're in. Good, decent food, fast time, and a decent price. So you need to figure out who you are. You can't say, we're everything to everybody right now. No. In fact, I always had fun at the different gift shows and trade shows like the Denver Merchandise Mart. When I worked the room and I'd say, oh, tell me what kind of business you have. And they'd say, oh, Mary Lou's General Store or whatever. And I said, now, what do you carry? And they go, we have everything. Well, you can't possibly have everything. So, and you don't want to have everything. You need to be specialized. That's why I went over the categories, the new categories that are so popular today. Where will you fit in with one of those categories? So you need to figure out also who your audience is. You need to know your numbers. You've got to know your numbers. When I had my retail business, my husband and I, we didn't share things like that with our staff at all. But that was years ago and you didn't do it. Today, you want your staff to know. And if you need more sales this week or what your goals are this week, and set parameters for them, and do different contests with them. But you need to let them know what's going on in the business. They want to know. They want to keep you alive, that's for sure. And you need to know what your message is. Come up with a message. In fact, I've done that. I've changed around. I've obviously in this time I've working out of my home, and I've changed a lot of my marketing pieces. And as opposed to putting a list of all the groups that I speak to, I put a mantra, and how I help these groups, and explain it a little bit differently. And I'm starting to look at all of the marketing pieces that I send out. And you also need to figure out if you're trying something new, is it innovative? Think about Dunkin' Donuts with their avocado toast. Is it innovative or is it an interference? Are they getting away from their message? So, and that's what you've got to figure out as well. So, know your audience, your numbers, your message, and is it something that's innovative or not? Or is it a distraction from what you really want to say in your messaging? Then it's your employees. It's getting them also to think about the customer and how important this experience is. You're selling an experience today. That's the only thing you can sell, an experience. And yes, they maybe get some merchandise or some food to go along with it, but you're selling the experience. Danny Mayer is a restaurateur in New York. He has 15 restaurants. And one thing, I heard an interview with him a couple of years ago, and I think he's brilliant anyway. I've been to several of his restaurants. But what he does with his staff, he wants his staff to be aware that everybody in the restaurant is wearing a sign. They're wearing a sign across their chests. And the sign says, "Make me feel special." And it's up to that staff member to figure out the size of the font and how brightly that sign is lit. Isn't that fabulous? Something as simple as that. And he also said in this interview that every time you go out with a group of people, which we haven't been doing lately, obviously to a restaurant, there's always a boss at the table, which I found very, very interesting. Bank of America had a article written about them just recently because they realized how difficult it was not being able to read people's lips when you're in the bank, either doing deposit, withdrawal, whatever you're doing. And so they made sure that the tellers were to write down the color of a person's eyes after they left the window to make sure that their employees were looking at the customers in their eyes, because that's the only way we have to communicate today. I learned from everything. And thank goodness Alzheimer's hasn't hit yet, because I retain as well. So it's your staff and the importance of your staff. I was doing a program in Singapore, and it was a program all about branding. The whole conference was about branding, but my portion of the conference was the face behind the brand. And so I thought, they're always interested in American companies. And I thought, who can I use as an example? And I thought the Container Store, and I know there's not a Container Store. I think there's only one in Billings. And in fact, there are not many nationwide. There are less than 200 stores based in Texas. And I was in one of their stores in Dallas, and it was around Christmas time. And I was kind of doing some research for this trip to Singapore. And their employees have 4 different jobs. 1 hour, they may be at the cash register. The next hour, they may be in the closet fitting department. The next hour, they may be carrying packages out for customers. The next hour, they're a floater. And then they repeat it over again, so that they know everything that goes on within that store. So if you ask them for something, they're not going to say, well, let me find somebody to help you. They know the answer. So I was in one of the stores in Dallas. I was watching a young lady, and she was a floater. And she was fluttering around the store. It was at Christmas time, fluttering around the store. And I could see that she was a little nervous because I was standing there watching her. So I explained to her why I was there and what I was doing. And I said, now tell me, I said, you seem pretty excited to work at the Container Store. And she says, oh, yes, I am. She says, everything they say in their brochures is true. She says, I'm a living, walking, talking ad for the Container Store. I could be Tony the Tiger for Kellogg's. I could be Ronald McDonald for McDonald's. I am the Container Store. I am the brand. And I went, wow. Wow. If everybody had employees like that. But unfortunately, we don't. All right, so it's getting the basics right. You'll figure out who your audience is, your number, your message, all of that, and your staff, along with going back to the ones that are able to pivot, such as your curbside delivery and different ways of delivering your items. All right, now social media. This cannot be an afterthought at all. And you can, maybe don't have the ability or the knowledge. I don't do a lot of social media at all, but I'm in a different kind of business too than you are right now. And so maybe it's best to find somebody to help you. Maybe one of your employees is excellent at it, because it needs to be consistent and it needs to be done regularly. And consistent and regularly are two different things, because consistent means you need to do it on a regular basis. It needs to be planned. It has to be planned. You can't just say, oh, that's right, I was going to do something on Facebook today. No, plan, and there has to be a plan and a marketing plan for your social media. And then two, it has to be done on a regular basis. You may want to find somebody, maybe a college student, somebody at the junior college, somebody that can help you, maybe someone in your chamber that can help, and maybe work with 4 different businesses, that can organize it. And I worked with Escondido right above San Diego in California. And this is what we did, because they had so many businesses that the owners didn't have the knowledge or didn't have the time, because now there are quite a few more things to think about. It's not just opening your door any longer at all. And to find somebody that can do something on a regular basis and to be able to figure out some sort of a plan. So there are all different ways of doing a social media program, and Nathan and your chamber can obviously help you with things like that as well. Use faces as much as you can. When you do a Facebook Live, and I've mentioned this before, if you do a story, the story will go to the top of your page, and it always stays for 24 hours, but it's right there at the top for 24 hours. So think about that with your Facebook Live ads. Also, too, put somebody maybe with your staff in charge of them. Somebody that has fun with the group, that would have fun with the customers, because you don't just want a faceless storefront. You want to add some life, and you can do this with Facebook Live and with Instagram and so on. Put a face. When I was in India, one of the first times I was in India, working with the Conservation of Indian Industry, and I spoke, and then the next morning I was having breakfast at the hotel. And this gentleman comes over and he said, Barbara, he said, he goes, oh, he called me Miss Wold, excuse me. He goes, Miss Wold, he said, I saw your picture in the paper today. I said, so did I. I said, I was kind of excited to see it in the paper. He goes, my picture was in the paper too. And I said, oh, was? He goes, yes, and my picture was bigger. Do you know why? He said, because I was photographed with a child. And it made me realize how important that is, how important a face is in an ad. And so I have a person's face in an ad. When I do blasts, I have all different categories, because I work with downtowns and main streets. I work with conventions. I work with the tourism industry. I work with the hospitality and hotel industry and lodging industries. And so I do once a month, I will do a blast to them. And I always try and make sure that I always have a picture, and I always make sure that I've got a picture with a face, so that there's some sort of an attraction and connection. And this is what you need to do as well. When I did a one-on-one meeting with Native Life in Browning on the reservation there. And when we were talking about this in the one-on-one meeting, it was this mother and daughter that owned the store, as I recall. And she said, we just got a new puppy. Could we use the puppy in Facebook Live? I go, oh my gosh, I said, that'd be fabulous. Yes, use the puppy. If I'm doing a program about marketing, I'll talk about Viking River cruises. Viking River cruises, in their ads on television, of course, you see the boat going down the river, and you see some of the scenery on the side. You see the husband and wife, or whoever they are, with their glass of champagne, toasting. And then what do you see? Then you see them sitting in the park next to a little lady with her little babushka around her head, chatting with one of the local natives. Then you see them at the pizza place, helping the pizza guy, take the pizza out of the oven. Or you see them on the street with a little girl that has her arm full of baguettes and they're buying a baguette from her. Yeah, so it's this relationship that you want to gain with Facebook Live. Um, you got to make it interesting too. And emails, you talk about, Facebook Live and social media. Don't forget about emails. Emails still work. They do. And add a picture if you're going to do an email. And an email, you don't want an email more than every couple weeks. That's it. But with Facebook Live, you can do that daily. Instagram, you can do daily. So, figure out, and somebody that's going to help you with your social media be able to tell you how often to do everything. And this is why you need a plan. So you're not just doing things haphazardly. But you could, one of your Facebook Lives, you could highlight products that you and your team have used in your store, or a new item that has just come in. But as I said, again, make it fun. Have fun with them, but use a face, because that's how you're going to connect with them. You're going to, as I said, emails are not dead yet at all, still very, very active. So you want to build that database you have. That's gold to you. That is gold, because there's some of your customers that are going to enjoy your emails more so than Facebook Live, and vice versa. In fact, the emails that I send out, my marketing emails, I get comments all the time about how nice they are to read, that they're not just selling something, but it's something interesting. And the text I put on there is interesting. With your emails that you send out, or also a newsletter, you could do an electronic newsletter. Make those interesting, not just about product all the time, maybe about a new employee. Susie just started working in our store. Let me tell you about Susie. Her husband coaches the Little League and this and that, whatever else. But people love human interest stories. People like stories in general. I was in Skowhegan, Maine, right smack in the middle of Maine. And my client was taking me to lunch at an old grist mill. The first thing I did was to turn the menu over, to look at the backside, to read the history of the grist mill. People love stories, they love history. And with this world that we're in right now, and even Nathan said he had a one-on-one meeting with somebody yesterday. It was so nice to be with somebody in person, that, personalize it. It tell a story, not just always just selling something, but tell a story and gain that connection with your customers. I told you in one of my last seminars, I was looking at a couple of retailers and what they were doing to turn things around and change things around a little differently. One of them was, it was two young women that opened up, and they, unfortunately, they opened 1 month before the pandemic. And they opened in February of last year. And it's called Peyton and Peppy Boutique. And they're in Hurricane, West Virginia, and which is a smaller town. I've never been to Hurricane, and that was interesting. And they sold apparel. Well, they expected, they had the chambers backing and everything else, and they were all excited and just couldn't wait to open. And then the pandemic hit, and nobody was walking through the door. Nobody. So they started a Facebook page. Now, I told you this before in one of the seminars, if any of you watched them. They start a Facebook page, and every Thursday from 1 hour in the afternoon, they do a fashion show. And they have done greater sales than they ever expected. That has been so successful that now they do one on Tuesday as well as Thursday, and they have different themes. One could be, loungewear for Zoom conferences, whatever it might be. But they've done a theme for each one, and they said their following has been so much fun because people love to, and they said they act fun, they have jokes and everything else, and they said that people just tune in to be with somebody else. They just want to see somebody else. So, that might work for your business as well. There's a store in, there it is, the Brooks Collection, a collection in Memphis. And this was interviewed on NBC News. And the woman that owned the store, she said, we've always had a very prestigious store, always had a very loyal clientele. And then all of a sudden, our business just dropped. She said, we have a lot of older clientele. And she said, we have lovely giftware and gift items. So she said, you know what I did? I started just taking pictures of them on my phone and sending them to customers. And she said, I never would have thought of that before, but I had to figure out what to do. So, that might work for you as well. There's a store here in our historic Union Station downtown here in Denver that when I asked for her to send me something right before Christmas last year, she couldn't get it to me in time because by the time it took to ship it, whatever else, she suggested it. And she said, Barbara, why don't I just put it in a cab and we'll get it right over to you? Because I live downtown in a high rise. And she said, the cab drivers have been, she told me this a couple of weeks ago. She said, the cab drivers have been so fabulous because their business has been cut because people aren't moving around. And she said, it was just great because I got this one cab driver that now stops by every afternoon and says, do you have anything for me to deliver? And, she said, it's just been great. I've never had that happen before. So, but she had to think of a way to get me an item immediately. And she was the one that came up with the idea. So figure out, different things that you can do to get products to customers and different ways of getting their attention. I did a program for the Whittier Area Chamber of Commerce right before Christmas, right at the beginning of December. And they're just outside of Los Angeles in California. And I had made mention how fun it would be to have their staff walk around their neighborhood or have their staff's children walk around the neighborhood and pass around flyers and put them in mailboxes, letting them know that, my name is Barbara. I just live on Sycamore Street and I work at Annie's Boutique. And I will be glad to bring a gift home or anything you need when I come home from work. Just let me know. Here's my phone number. Here's my email address, whatever. I had actually it was two of their stores call me right after Christmas that was the greatest idea, that they had never thought about having their staff do that. And what a response it got in the community that the local newspaper did a whole article about it. So, there are all sorts of fun things to do, but it's just coming up with the ideas. That's what it takes. So ask your staff, ask your advisory board. Yes, your customers. Don't forget to ask your advisory board. Okay. Now, as I said, there are going to be supply chain challenges again. There were at Christmas time. They're going to continue to be because everybody's having everything shipped. On last Sunday, I placed an order on Walmart.com for the serum I use on my face, and I needed some shampoo and a couple of things. And I know darn well that I wait until I get $35 so that I get free shipping. Okay. And, and I'll do that every 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it is, either Target or Walmart. And so I placed an order Sunday afternoon. And they said on my response email that I would receive it by Thursday, and I figured, okay, it'd be delivered and put in the package room on Thursday. Didn't think anything of it. Monday noon, I got a knock on my door. And I thought, well, I wasn't expecting anything. And I go to open the door. Here it is, a Walmart employee standing there. He has his vest on, and he had a plastic bag with my items in it. He said, we had these things at our local store, so I brought them over to you. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. You know, Amazon, yes, I know I get Amazon the next day. I mean, they're incredible. And Walmart's very good anyway. Excellent. Excellent. They always get it to you sooner than you expect it. But that was really a shock to me to have a Walmart employee bring it to my door. Oh, speaking about that, we were talking about, you know, items that are doing so well right now. What about Instacart? Instacart has exploded. What about Zoom? Zoom has exploded. You know, when you think of all these companies that have done very, very well, Instacart, now there are all sorts of people trying to copy Instacart. I use Instacart. Obviously, I live in a high-rise downtown Denver, and I've used them for years, and I've always been very pleased. If there's ever a problem, I mean, they fix it immediately. It is incredible. They sent me an email last week because I was such a good customer that I could get $25 off a $35 purchase from my King Supers, which is like Safeway or any other market. $25 off a $35 purchase. I had two of them, and it expired in a week and a half. Of course, I work out an order that's $35, and then I work out another order that's $35. I mean, I'm not stupid. And I thought, you know, how incredible. You know, why would I go anywhere else? Why would I take a cab to the market and schlep the bags home? I wouldn't. No. And I've only had a couple little problems with Instacart. I bought new candles. It was in the fall. And from Bath and Body Works, I bought some new candles. And so I wanted one of those lighters, those big lighters. And I made sure that was the only reason I was placing the order, you know, just so I could get my big lighter for my candles. And so when the delivery guy came, I said, is the big lighter? And he goes, oh, yes, I got your big lighter. No problem. And I opened up, big lighter wasn't there. I had somebody's cat food, and I don't have a cat. So, but Instacart sent somebody over to deliver one big lighter to me. So, you know, you think of how many companies are able to pivot, and they realize what's going to win a customer for life. And that's your opportunity right now, to win customers for life. As I said, supply chain shortages right now and challenges, but you know, your vendors are trying to work with them, so work with your vendors. You know, and I mentioned that before. Spend time with them. You know, get to know them, and you have a chance now, definitely. You think of all the vendors that were at the Denver Merchandise Mart that are just gone. You know, where are they going to go? You know, they can't really go door to door any longer. I mean, so, you know, it's going to be very difficult for a lot of different companies right now. But so that's why they're willing to work with you. I gave you the idea before at the last seminar I did for Great Falls Group, is to build bundles. Now, I'm going to use this example again, and I'll tell you why it's so very important. McDonald's. McDonald's, very, very good. About 30 years ago, they started building bundles. All right, you buy a quarter pounder, and you buy fries with that and a drink, and you order number one. That's number one. Number two is you get, you know, whatever, chicken McNuggets and a drink and fries. All right, makes it real easy for the customer, and they can just go, okay, I'll take number one, I'll take number two. All right, so that worked out so well. Why did they do it? So they'd make more money? Well, sure. I mean, they're not stupid, of course, but to make it easier for the customer as well. All right, now you can do it. Now you get the value meal, and you know it's the same thing. You know, they're making more money, but they're making it easier for you. All right, as I said, cooking items very, 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 very well right now. Cooking items are doing very well. Cookbooks are doing very, very well. Why not bundled a cookbook? A pie plate, a ceramic pie plate made in Montana. tie it up with a bow, and there you go. You've got a $25 bundle. So take the time to do that. When I mentioned cooking and how important cooking is right now, people are cooking at home more. Yes. Um, I on my Facebook page, I only do Facebook with my relatives. And up at the very top was the story. And it was from a distant cousin. And what it was a log of feta cheese. I couldn't tell what it was. And surrounded by cherry tomatoes and a couple of pieces of garlic. And I thought, what is this? What? And there was no explanation. This is all I'm seeing now. This was on TikTok. And I don't know if any of you ever seen, now this is all I see. And I look on my phone at the news or updates or whatever else, and it's new recipes with feta cheese and cherry tomatoes and pasta recipes. So I tried it last night. It was delicious. I did try it. But so, bundle items, maybe you have a couple slow sellers, put them with something that's a great seller. As long as they look great together, and tie them with a piece of raffia, with a ribbon, whatever that might be, to look like a package. Now, spring's coming, Mother's Day's coming, weddings are going to happen now again. So many weddings were put off last year, so those are going to start happening. So people are going to start buying gifts again. All right, they have, $25 limit, maybe a $40 limit, maybe a $50. Put things, and think that way to make it very easy for them. They need a $25 gift. They need a $50 wedding present, and they can just pick it up, have you ship it, and go. You want to make it as easy as possible for them. So think about bundles. Think about McDonald's. And this is why when I teach, I give you an example. I mean, I could just tell you, okay, build bundles, do this. But by telling you about McDonald's, that'll help you to remember it. You also want to think about different partnerships that you can do. You've got to realize my mind is going like this. When I speak in front of a group, I'll have a little table with some water and a couple little notes, and that's it. If you could see me right now, I have notes all over here. I've got a lamp here with notes all over it. So because my mind goes so fast in thinking about this. And also too, an hour is a very short time. When I used to work in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, when I used to work in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore, I'd work with a group for 2 days. I'd have so much fun. I'd eat meals with them and have so much fun with them. We would really get down to the nitty gritty, and we could role play and everything else. So, this is completely different for me. Partnerships. And one of the seminars that I did for Grow Great Falls was all about partnerships. So, that may be one that you want to pick up and take a look at. And do they need, and Nathan will tell you at the end how to do that again, how to get a hold of it. But I'll give you just one example, because I gave all different examples of business that are exactly alike being partners, and business that are completely different being partners. I was in Marion, Indiana, and I was there working with the Chamber of Commerce, and it was like a customer service conference. Went all day with various speakers. And I was a speaker at the end of the day. And I was to go through and gather information from all the other speakers and to roll it all into one to kind of summarize it at the end before everybody left. And at this Chamber of Commerce seminar, they had tables all around the room. And so the bank had a table, and they had their pins on it and different brochures and things. And Northwood Manor, the senior home, had a table with, now we have Northwood Manor pins too, but they also had brochures and everything else. Well, I got up there all ready to start. And I said to the group, I said, before any of you leave, walk around the room. And I said, and see if there's somebody there in the back that you might be able to partner with. And I said, I had the pleasure of sitting with Pam and Mark for lunch, and Pam and Mark own a children's bookstore. And I said, Pam and Mark, have you ever thought about partnering with Northwood Manor? Well, Pam looks at me and she goes, Barbara, we are a children's bookstore. I said, yes. And do you know that everybody that lives there has grandchildren? Since then, they've created a program where they go in every 2 weeks. They have a list of everybody's grandchildren. They can send an age-appropriate books for different holidays, put them in a manila envelope, slap a few stickers on it, and send it off. They would have never thought about that. So this is where your advisory board comes in, because they can come up with, somebody may come up with that idea where you wouldn't have thought about it. Yeah, so I mean, there's so many things to think about and that can be changed right now, and there's so many opportunities. And we'll get to questions in just a minute. I've got one more thing to discuss, and then I'm just going to run through everything real fast. It's your time to reshape. You have that time to reshape now. You know, look at what you're offering the customer. You know, could there be something else that you could offer that could add revenue? Maybe there are new offerings that you never thought about that you could mingle in with your store. Maybe it's time now to think about, you know, new services. Yes, you've gone through all the services. Well, what's new? You know, what could be added? You know, when we think about, you know, Kohl's department store, I looked it up last night to see how many Kohl's department stores there are in Montana. 3. There are only 3. 3. What has Kohl's done though? First of all, they broke away from the shopping center industry years ago. And that's how I started out working with the shopping center industry after my retail business. And ICS, the International Council of Shopping Centers, sent me all over the world for them to speak at conferences. And so Kohl's broke away. They weren't going to be in a mall. The malls aren't going to, I don't know what's going to happen to the malls right now. Tell you the truth. I mean, I hear all and read all different things about it. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody wants to go back into a mall right now. And nobody needs anything. We don't need stuff anymore. And so that's the difference. It's real easy to order things online, or it's real easy to pick them up curbside. It's too hard with the shopping centers the way they're set up today. So Kohl's moved away and they had their own pads and they were independent of the shopping center. All right, now they've realized that, gee, we've got all this extra space and we don't really need it. So they've leased out some of their in-store space to Weight Watchers, to Planet Fitness, to Amazon pickup and returns, to Sephora, Target. Target's realized the same thing. So now they're leasing space to Levi's, so they have their own little pop-up store, and Ultima. So, you know, everybody's trying to figure out what to do and, you know, and how to reshape themselves. All right, those that react the quickest are going to survive. Those that shift to online, if you're not already, that's another way of survival today. The new demands, you know, what are the new demands of your staff? You know, how are you going to take care of that? Getting the basics right, making sure that you don't say, we've got everything for everybody, because you don't. So you need to know who you are if you're going to survive, and maybe retweak that, such as the examples I just gave you just now. Your social media, how important that is, and it can't just be an afterthought. Your supply chain challenges, to think about that, and your vendors today. I sent out, and time to reshape yourself, to think about yourself, how you're going to react and how you might change. I sent out yesterday a blast to the conventions that I hope to work with. And this is, I mean, goes out to thousands of conventions, but they're still happening. They're just all virtual. And the focus of it was, after every storm comes a rainbow. And that's the way you need to look at it today. So it's those who are able to pivot is the key word today. Starbucks started out where? Seattle. Cold, rainy, hot coffee did very, very well. Second location, Chicago. Cold, wind coming off Lake Michigan, snowy, hot coffee did very, very well. Third location, 3rd Street Promenade, Santa Monica, California. Hot August afternoon, that hot coffee is just flying out the door, right? Nope, not at all. Ann Ewing, the manager of the store, all she got were requests for cold drinks. They didn't have cold drinks. So she went home, she got her blender, stopped and got some ice, and made the first Frappuccino. And look where that's come today. Look where that's come today. She was able to pivot and to think on her feet. Starbucks has turned themselves around today, extremely successful, made mistakes, yes, turned themselves around because they realized that their employees were robots. And so they wanted them to be able to think on their feet again. So this is what you need to do to be able to pivot. If anybody has a question, I'm here.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question if you have one.
And then Nathan also tell you how to get the other videos. Okay, one little point, since we're not getting any questions, is what's going to be the next big thing? And you know what I keep on reading? Subscription boxes. And I keep on seeing them popping up here and there. And this is something that you can do with your customers to get them excited. People are at home more. And think how exciting every single month to get a little box with something you don't know what's going to be in it. Maybe it's spa items, all spa items and different items. So, look into that. Look into new challenges today. Maybe, this would be something to ask your advisory board. What about a subscription service? It works for the pet industry. Look at Chewy. Look at Chewy.com. I'll tell you, it works for them. So, but they do subscription services. So you get the same items, on a regular basis.
That's great. Thanks, Barbara. So wonderful. I did put the link to our website that has all of Barbara Wold's talks on it, and that will get this one up there as well in case you want to come back and review something. If you trying to remember exactly the example or some ideas. There's also on that page the registration link if you want to do a one-on-one session. So just go to that one-on-one session. It's the second registration link currently. So set that up and then I'll reach out and give you a call and we'll set up an appointment. And I'll let the last word to Barbara. And
well, the one-on-ones that we did before were fabulous because it gets the owner of the business to actually think about their business before they come in to meet with me. I look at a video of the store, which we did via Dropbox, and I guess we're gonna do the same way via Dropbox. And I look at the video so I get to see the store. But then too, it gives me the ability to ask questions specifically to that business owner and gets them to think about their business before they come into the meeting too. So, because it's, and to look at their store, as they're videotaping it, because so many times, we don't. We open the doors and expect the customers to come in, and we don't really take that opportunity to check out our own store. A light bulb will go out here, want to go out here, and you don't even notice it. And so it's taking that time to look at your business and then presenting your business to me. And I don't have all the answers, but I've got some suggestions and some good suggestions as well.
well, awesome. Thank you. If anybody has any quick questions, then we can ask Barbara. But if not, thank you for being on. And yeah, definitely check out the one-on-one sessions. And thank you, Barbara, for all your wisdom today. And we look forward to more connecting.
Well, I can't wait to hear what everybody's going to do and how they're going to turn things around and how they're going to pivot.